uh, 10 that or recite. We have to people Rahim. Through said lean وكنا أتانا الشافعين. Tells us that by the people of paradise, what has landed you in this damnation that you are in? They will respond with four things. Four things that is the formula of a person gaining admittance into the hellfire. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. He says, the first thing that they will say, قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We were not of the people who made salah. We were not of them, we were not with them. This could mean we were not of the Muslimin, because the people of salah is a synonym for the Muslimin. If we were to say, who are the Muslimin? They are the people of salah. Who are the people of salah? They are the Muslimin. So it's a synonym. This verse has a double meaning. It means we were not of the Muslimin, and we did not pray with those who were praying. Because salah is the first thing that a person will be judged for on the day of judgment. Let me ask you a question. The people who are disbelievers, they disbelieve. They do not just disbelieve in Islam. They disbelieve in whatever has reached them of the religion of the prophets and messengers. They do not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do not follow a book. They do not follow a religion. They just exist however they feel like that day, or however society tells them, and whatever is most popular. Why is it so important to such an individual to be considered a good person? If a person doesn't believe in Allah, doesn't believe in the last day, why is it so important to them that they be a good person? What is good and evil anyways without a creator? If there is no creator, how can there exist good and evil? These are just realities, things that exist. It's not good or evil. There is no morality without a creator. Because the creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he deems to be good is what is morally good, and what he deems to be bad is what is morally bad. But if a person sees the world as just a natural phenomenon, just something that grinded its way to this present moment, just, wombs that are pushing out babies and holes that are taking in corpses, and that's all the world is, and that's all that existence is, then how can there be such morality as good and evil? People know that there is a God. They know that there is a creator. They understand deep within themselves because of the fitrah, that there is a day of judgment, that there is good and evil, that they will be asked, why did you and why did you not? Even if a person argues otherwise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, بَلِ الْإِنسَانُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَاذِيرًا. The human being is a witness over himself and his faults and his misdeeds and his wrongdoings. Even if he gives himself in argument, excuse after excuse, he knows. Deep down he knows because of the fitrah. It's deep in the heart, deep in the soul. And this is why people, when they are on the brink of death, who do they call out to? Allah. When they are looking death in the eye, who are they calling to? Allah. And it's only one, it's not many. And it's not people or human beings or angels. It is Allah Rabbul Alameen, the one that they gesture up to, the one that is above, the one. And so people think that they can make up their own excuses before Allah. They don't follow any religion. They don't look to seek the truth. They don't look to seek if Allah has communicated with them through prophets and messengers. But then they do things that they deem to be good, thinking that this will intercede on their behalf on the day of judgment, that they're making for themselves an argument. Well, I help people and I worry about people and I give and I do this and I give to charity and I do all these things on my terms, but hopefully in their heart of hearts they believe that this will intercede on their behalf with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That they can say, well, I didn't do everything you asked, but look at all this good stuff I did, right? I was so kind. I was so good. I didn't murder people. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Why? To give themselves some kind of argument before Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to that argument here. He says that they will say, we were not of the people who prayed, and we did not feed the hungry, the miskeen. And we used to, وَكُنَّا نَخُوض يعني فِي الْبَاطِلِ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ. And we used to spend our time and squander our time in that which is false, in falsehood, mulling it over. He says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And we also belied the day of reckoning, the day of judgment. We belied it. We disbelieved in it. We didn't really believe it would come. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here says, فَمَا تَنْفَعُهُمْ شَفَاعَةُ الشَّافِعِينَ. He says, hence, meaning based on what is past, الفاء هنا عاطفة لكنها تحمل معنى السببية. يعني فبسبب ذلك كله ما تنفعهم شفاعة الشافعين. So because of that, no intercession of any interceder will be of consequence for them, will be of benefit to them. Look at the wording of it. فَمَا تَنْفَعُهُمْ شفاعة الشافعين. الشافع هنا اسم فاعل وكأنه لا يصنع إلا الشفاعة، حتى هذا لا يصلح ولا ينفع شفاعته ولا تنفع شفاعته أولئك، ولو كانوا أنبياء ولو كانوا ملائكة ولو كانوا من أولياء الله ولو كان من عمل صالح ولو كان من إعطاء ولو كان فما تنفعهم شفاعة الشافعين. He says subhanahu wa ta'ala, so no intercession of any interceder will be of consequence for them. It will not be of consequence for them. Not any good deed that they think they did, not any argument that they think they constructed. They didn't worship Allah on His terms. They worshiped Allah on their terms. Do not think for a moment that there is a human being on this earth who has both sanity and mind intact, no matter what they claim of atheist belief, that in private they are not building an argument for themselves before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In their heart of hearts, no matter what they say out loud and in public, in their private life, behind closed doors, they are trying to build an argument for themselves in front of Allah, just in case. And you see this when they rationalize. Very famous atheists of our time and even before, right? Like Bertrand Russell and Dawkins and Krauss and all of these different contemporary and past atheists, they will write an entire book on proving that God does not exist, even though this is an impossibility. It's a logical fallacy in and of itself. How can you prove that He for certain does not exist? However, beyond this, you'll find that in the final chapters or in their final words, what do they say? They leave room for, what if God does exist? What would I tell Him when I meet Him? Bertrand Russell had a part of this where he talked about this. Dawkins has a part of this in his books that he talks about this. They've prepared an argument. What if God does exist? What am I going to tell Him? So Bertrand Russell says, I am going to tell Him, why did you take such pains to conceal yourself? Right? Notice the wording here. He's already assumed that if a God does exist, he will ask Him, and He's going to respond, and He's going to have a dialogue with this God. Who described this God to him? Was it his logic? No. It is the religion of all the prophets and messengers. He knows very well that he's going to be asked. But he thinks that he's going to argue his way out of it on a technicality, and that he's going to get to have his cake and eat it at the same time. This is only in their imagination. But when it comes time to truly meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when one stands before Allah, the judge of judges, and even your skin bears witness against you, how can you argue in such a court? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us of such horrors, that a man's mouth will be sealed, and his skin, and his eyes, and his ears, and his limbs will start to testify against him, what possible argument can a person make before Allah if this is the case? There is no argument for the rejection of the prophets and messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter what good a person thinks he is doing outside of that, all relationship with Allah is founded and based upon belief in His prophets and messengers. And so these individuals, Allah tells us that no intercession of any interceder shall be of any consequence for them on the day of judgment. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعنا بشفاعة الشافعين. نسأله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلني وإياكم ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. والله أعلم، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.